So Assassin's Creed Syndicate was once again developed by Ubisoft, published by Ubisoft. This game is the last game in the Assassin's Creed franchise that I had any interest in. I actually had a lot of interest in this one because of the setting. London is a place that I've always been interested in real life. And, I wanted to see, Assassin's Creed, tackle London and see what that looked like in this particular franchise. And so when they announced this, I was excited for it mainly for that reason. And, they did a very good job. This is a good game. This is a much better game compared to Assassin's Creed Unity, which was a huge fucking just clusterfuck of just bad game design and poor fucking piss poor management decisions by Ubisoft. This in particular is much better, but a lot of people lost interest in Assassin's Creed after Unity because Unity was so fucking terrible. This is much better. One of the good things about this game is the fact that I'd say the best thing about it actually is the fact that it has two characters. It has these twin characters, the Fry twins. You have Evie, she's the first, not the first playable female character in Assassin's Creed, but she's the first playable female character in a mainline entry in the series. And she's a really fun character to play as. And then you have her twin brother, Jacob, who's he's just a typical assassin. One of the things that I like about these two characters in particular is the fact that personality wise they're not the typical they're typical slog boring ass fucking characters that the assassins are in these Assassin's Creed games. They have that twin, that brother sister relationship, so they have there's a lot of quirky dialogue between them and whatnot. Like Jacob, he's like a douche character. He has a lot of witty dialogue and whatnot. And Evie's like the more serious sibling, and so she takes things a bit more. She's the mature one, and Jacob is like the one that needs to grow up and whatnot. So that's the fun part about these characters. And I had hoped that they were actually going to make another game. I like the characters so much that I wanted to see another game with them, but they didn't do that. They went and made that fucking shitty ass Assassin's Creed Origins shit. So whatever. Another good thing about this game is the fact that it's a bit more modern. One of the reasons I've lost interest in the Assassin's Creed franchise to begin with is the fact that the series just keeps reusing these old ass historical time settings and shit. Assassin's Creed Syndicate's a little bit more modern. This is during the age of the Industrial Revolution and shit. And so the guns are a bit more modernized compared to the older games in the series where guns weren't really they weren't used very much. The weapons are also very different. Like they have the swords or whatever hidden in these canes and whatnot, and then they have these knives and whatnot that you fight with. And another good thing is that you can organize, the name of the game actually makes sense. You can organize literally a syndicate, and you can have these thugs or these henchmen follow you, and you can give them orders, and you can set up gang fights and whatnot, fights between your gang and fights between the rival gangs that take control of London. And so that's a good idea that they have in the game. And then they added this grappling hook like device, almost like a Batman Arkham type of grappling hook that you can use to scale the buildings and get around the city. And that's very fun. That's an interesting idea that they did with this game. So all of that's fun. The combat system, thank fucking Christ, they went back to the like the Batman Arkham like counter style. Of course, it's not Batman Arkham. It doesn't play like that. So you know, it's not as good as that, obviously, but it's a bigger improvement compared to the bullshit they had going on in Assassin's Creed Unity. They have weather effects and shit in the game, so you know, graphically the game is really good. The city looks good, the character models look good, they're well animated, and you know, they move in a realistic you know, fashion. And then they even have these carriages or whatever, which have this the horse carriages, which act as like these Grand Theft Auto style bumper cars. It's very silly and very unrealistic, but it's fun, and it's like that kind of stupid fun that you want in a video game. And so, you know, it's something that you shouldn't take seriously. As far as the story goes, it's like I said in my Assassin's Creed Unity retrospective. None of the story in the Assassin's Creed games are good. This one, you know, they since Assassin's Creed Unity, and even since Assassin's Creed 4, they've kind of abandoned and kind of gave up with on the modern aspect of the Assassin's Creed games, because you have the historical setting, and then you have the setting outside of that, the Matrix, you know, present day timeline, and they've kind of given up on that in the Assassin's Creed games. Some people you know, like that. I really don't care for that. That's one of the reasons why I lost interest in Assassin's Creed, is because, you know, clearly they just don't have a direction. After Assassin's Creed 3, the series kind of lost direction, and now they just keep making the games because they you know, continue to make money and shit. And you know, that just tells me that they just need to end the franchise, and that the series is past its expiration date. And you know, that's one of the things that I don't really care for. So the story is not good in the game. It's ridiculous, and it's not something that's a highlight of the game. It's a detriment to the game. They have these Fight Club like mini games in the game, where it's literally a fight club. That's what they're called. And you can go into the fucking, you go into like a ring, almost like a fucking WWE style fucking ring and shit. And you fight a series of opponents, almost like a survival mode type of thing, an arena based fight mode. And I like that shit. Fight Club is actually my favorite film of all time, and so it kind of reminds me of that. So I'm glad they put that in the game. RPG wise, you know, Evie and Jacob unlock these abilities in the game, and so it has like an RPG style progression to it. You know, the Assassin's Creed games kind of evolved into more of an RPG franchise compared to the action, just the standard action adventure game that the series started out as. And so, you know, that's cool and everything, I guess, but you know, pretty much every fucking game is doing that now, so you know, I don't really care much for that. You can do some interesting things in this game, like ride on these trains and whatnot. Like they have trains and whatnot. One of the trains is your hub or whatever, like this small hub that you can access. And when you go on the train, like, because in the game you can freely switch between Evie and Jacob in the game whenever you want. So when you go on the fucking train, the other twin that you're not playing as will be there, and they'll you know, say dialogue or whatever, you know. And like I said, Evie's personality is very different from Jacob, so you'll get like different dialogue or whatever from the twins, from the opposite twin that you're not playing as in this little hub. And so, you know, that's interesting and whatnot. And as far as the exploration goes, it's you know, it's the way it always is. The exploration is the best part about the Assassin's Creed games, and you know, this is no different. The exploration is actually, you know, better in this game compared to the older games and whatnot. You know, all in all, it's a good game. It's not a great game or anything like that. Again, the last truly great game in the Assassin's Creed series was Assassin's Creed 4. I know those developers went on to make Assassin's Creed Origins. I haven't played Assassin's Creed Origins, but I've seen gameplay of it, and it clearly that game doesn't have a good combat system, and there are a lot of issues like with the graphical glitches and shit. So, you know, I don't know how you go from making, you know, something like Assassin's Creed 4, you know, a great game like that, and then go on to make some bullshit like Assassin's Creed Origins, which is another fucking video game this console generation that's been overrated and shit. So, you know, maybe at some point I'll use my GameFly account and rent that game. But, you know, I'm pretty much done with the Assassin's Creed series as far as, you know, actually buying the games themselves. I really don't have much of an interest in the series anymore. They would have to really do something truly new and unique and interesting in order for me to get back into the series and whatnot. And Assassin's Creed Origins definitely isn't that. You know, it's just a typical RPG game with you know, a bad combat system and a bunch of graphical issues and whatnot, and glitches and all that. So, you know, that's not that game. But as far as Assassin's Creed Syndicate goes, it's a good game. And so yeah, there's my retrospective for Assassin's Creed Syndicate.